It's a bull. At least the coin got it right today. Oh my gosh, what a shit show out there. Hey, this is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Actually, I've got the live Kiev cam up right now. And of course, I didn't shut my phone off here, so let me do that now if I can. Got the, oh my gosh, look at this mess here. But no tanks are rolling in as of yet. I think a lot of us are going to be watching this live Kiev cam to see what happens next. I'm telling you, I got that one wrong. I did not think that Putin would roll into Russia like he did. However, I don't think anyone's quite sure what's happening at the moment. And by the way, this is the live Kiev cam. You can watch this here. Just put in a view of Maiden Square in Kiev. They've been running all day. Almost kind of reminds me of the Tiananmen Square camera. Remember, they had that and when CNN was actually big. And what else was the other one? Oh, when CNN had the war coverage in Iraq when we were watching it live. Well, here's your chance to watch it live on the internet if anything happens. If there are going to be tanks rolling to Kiev, they're going to be rolling down these streets right here, folks. And I kind of hope not. But no less, man, that man has some big balls for sure. I didn't think Putin was going to do it for a couple good reasons. Number one, if he rolls in a full invasion there, they're going to risk losing a lot of Ukrainians. And again, it's kind of weird what's happening right now. There seems to be an air war that is just taking out their military stuff. Putin calls it, war is war, no matter what. Whether someone mentioned out there, whether you have a blue helmet or a green helmet, it's still people shooting at each other. It's never good. There's basically zero diplomacy out there going on, which we really should see. But Putin had some big balls to go in and actually even do that. But I get it. I get it to some degree, and we've been talking about this a long time. You know, there have been no peacemakers out there. There have been no ambassadors for peace, and more or less expanding NATO into Russia's backyard right along their border. What an awful, awful idea that was. So they've kind of pushed Putin to this level, but again, I didn't think he had the balls to do it, but obviously he did. There's a lot of things going on here. We'll talk about that in a few moments here. First, let's look at precious metal prices, which absolutely skyrocketed today. And I'm going to do a quick reset here, and then we're kind of back to the levels we were. What is that telling us? You know, there was strength in gold yesterday and the days leading up to this. Again, I'm not quite sure it's an invasion to some degree, but not kind of what we're used to seeing. Again, if they start rolling into Kiev and there's actually, they start putting new people in charge, then yeah, you know what's happened here. But everything seems to be quiet at the moment. You have to wonder what Putin's plans are next. Are they to actually full out change the leadership in Ukraine, or are they there just to, as they said, de-weaponize Ukraine? Because if they were there to de-weaponize, they did their job pretty damn good. And again, what confounds me is I just can't see Russia being able to afford to do a full-scale invasion, changing of the leadership, and virtually going in there and taking care of millions and millions of people. They have to pick up pension funds. They have to do all that stuff. So this is a strange thing that's going on right now. A lot of reasons, well, again, that I don't think anyone expected this, but let's talk about gold prices. So much excitement out there. Did you see 1974 as the high this morning? We're going to see on the 24-hour charts when that was. A low of 1910, a high of 1974, and here we sit at 1921, showing $12 up. Here's a strange one for you. Take a look at this, 25.64, probably in the morning markets shortly after Russia started demilitarizing Ukraine. So 25.64 a high, 24.53 a low. And currently sitting at that 24.53. Silver's actually backed off to a negative level. And platinum the same way, 1,057. We broke that $1,100 mark. Look at that, 1128. And palladium did a good job as well. Remember, platinum and palladium, a lot of this comes out of Russia. So we could probably see these prices going up here shortly as a result of sanctions or something that's going to happen. And again, I'm not done with this Russia-Ukraine thing here. I got some more things to discuss. But let's take a look at the 24-hour charts. Thankfully, in the overnight markets, nobody bought at this level because you had an opportunity to buy what I would call a huge dip here. Was this rise in price to 1940 to the 1970s an overreaction to this morning? Yeah, very possibly it was. but no less, we see the prices getting monkey hammered down substantially, but we're still sitting at a little plus level here. And again, yesterday markets were pretty damn flat. It's kind of weird. Again, really weird environment. You know, for some reason, the gold price being up like it was for the last couple of days should have led me to believe that there's something going on in the background, and that maybe an incursion into the Ukraine borders like that was imminent. So, but again, a few reasons why a lot of people did not believe that, even including myself. Let's take a look at silver here. Silver is currently, again, where did that action occur? You know, slowly overnight here. Let's take a look. That's New York time, 4 a.m. Look, it actually looks like silver was starting to go up prior to news of that, the Russian invasion. But take a look at this, kind of sideways and then back down here, monkey hammered down in the New York markets, of course. But you know, this is good. This is, I mean, think about this. Let's see where this turns out. If it's a full-on invasion into Ukraine, this will turn sanctions right up to the number 10. It'll turn it up to the 10 knob for sure. And what's that going to do with the price of oil and the price of precious metals? Is going to go up dramatically. I think we saw that spike this morning, but you know, it hasn't stayed at that level. What is this? What is the gold and silver markets telling us right now? Or is it perhaps that gold and silver markets should be much higher because of this, but have been monkey hammered down in the COMEX markets or by big commercial shorts out of pure fear right now that this could have been the catalyst that put them all down, especially that potential BOFA short? Well, let's take a look at stock market, seeing what happened. Really hemorrhaged this morning, not too bad today. It looks like everything across the board. This Dow Jones was, what, almost 900 points or something like that down, right? 900. NASDAQ actually recovered. I thought that was a few hundred points down. And basically all three of these markets right here were in the red. Gold and silver were in the green. Silver's backed off a little bit right now. Really strange. Again, what is this telling us? I don't know. We're in kind of a real odd area here. I think everybody's sitting at home watching their television sets as well. So let's get into what was supposed to be the safest hedge out there as far as wars, as far as all kinds of government issues, government problems. The thing that was supposed to replace gold has not done too well at all in any way, shape, or form. If you take a look at the charts here, 1 week down 13% almost. I mean, granted, gold and silver got knocked back a little bit, but overall they've been holding up pretty good, and they've had some strength as well. That little black swan event this morning showed you what could happen, but again, I'm a bit confused why gold and silver haven't hung on to that level, if this indeed is a black swan event in Russia right now with Ukraine. All right, well, let me get into some ideas I thought on this, because I did open up my mouth and say that invasion my ass. I just didn't see that coming, but I do understand the issues there quite well, and there's a lot of reasons why that I think. Here, I'm going to go to the first reason why I think that many people were skeptical, including the president of Ukraine was even putting out messages up until yesterday or the day before that he said, relax, relax, Russia's not going to invade, and Russia's not going to invade. And lo and behold, the United States government was saying, yes, it is going to invade, yes, it is going to invade. And you know what? 20, 30, 40 years ago, when the American government told me that, yes, they would invade the country or that there was a high potential for that, I would have believed them. I would have kind of looked more towards that. But the problem we have now with our governments all over the world, Europe, UK, United States, is lack of credibility. I mean, this has hurt us a little bit. It hurt. I don't know how to say this, but you know, the current administrations and the other administrations, even past administrations, for years have cried, well, the current administration, I won't say the past one prior to that, but they've cried wolf on so many things. The credibility is so low on so many things. And it wasn't hard stretched to believe that when the current administration was saying, oh, they're going to invade, it was kind of like the boy who cried wolf. You know, how many times do you get lied to? How many times do they cry wolf before you just kind of like don't take what they say seriously? And I got to admit, I did not take the warnings that seriously from our U.S. government. However, you know, who can when the government has such credibility issues? And the fact is, folks, they have major credibility issues. As I said, 20, 30 years ago plus, if I had read the news and our military and everything was saying that they were building up troops along the border, and I'd seen it on a few different corporate channels maybe, I would have believed it. But again, these corporate news stations and governments have become such liars, and they lie to our faces over and over. So really, I very well missed this because I did not trust what they were telling me, because they've cried wolf so many times. All right, that's my excuse, and it's not really an excuse. Again, if I trust sources, I will definitely listen to them. But the problem with the sources we have with corporate news, whether it's Fox or CNN, or whether it's regardless of what party in government, they cried wolf so many times, folks. You know, remember Yellow Cake back in the day, the reason for going into Iraq, and remember, it's just endless. So no less, I still think Putin had some big balls. That's for damn sure to do that. But I can see the position that he was in. All right, let's take a look at this. This is Tulsi Gabbard. I wouldn't have voted for her, because she is fiscally very social. I mean, not liberal. She's fiscally liberal, which means that she doesn't mind spending money we don't have. I don't believe she's a fiscal conservative. However, on her stances on war, and remember, she's a soldier as well. She fought for this country, and she's been saying for years, where the diplomacy? This is something, no matter, even if I got it wrong yesterday, I've been saying this for the longest time. Where is the diplomacy? Where is the diplomacy? This administration has done nothing, but the Democrats have done nothing, and Republicans aren't much better because they haven't helped, have done nothing but goad the Russians, goad them. And when I say goad them, can you imagine? Now, this is what's similar to what NATO did to Russia. NATO wanted to put NATO, or was talking about potentially putting NATO troops in the United States. We were actually sending missiles, surface-to-air missiles, new technology, just recently to Ukraine, okay? And we were saying, hey, listen, if they want to get into NATO, they can. And Russia, who has Ukraine right on their border, is listening to this and saying, well, we don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, Putin has bigger balls and is a much better chess player than I thought. But no less, imagine, put this shoe on the other foot. And again, I'm not justifying war. I think war frickin' sucks. I think warmongers suck. I think people that don't try to avoid war suck, all right? And I'm not justifying what Russia has done. However, we do it just as much, folks. You can't point out the speck in your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own. And we do. We have, we have credibility issues with our government and our media, major credibility issues. We have we have some screwed up foreign policies, major screwed up foreign policies, because it's hypocrisy at its greatest. We want to put major NATO weapons on the border with Russia in Ukraine. Meanwhile, again, I said, think about it from this angle. What if the Russians basically went into Mexico more or less and started wanting to put Russian missiles along the border with the United States, or even Canada. Canada is more likely to be communist. Mexican, sorry. But even Canada, I don't mean Canadians in general, I'm just talking about the Canadian government, who seems to be just as crazy as the Putin's government, but no less to some degree. What if Canada and Mexico started putting Russian missiles and Russian weapons along the border? Do you honestly believe, even for a second, we wouldn't have done the same exact thing that they just did? Absolutely we would. We wouldn't tolerate. I mean, look what we did during the Cuban Missile Crisis. We threatened a nuclear war over the Cuban Missile Crisis. So the hypocrisy of our world politics, the way we handle global politics in the United States and a lot of European countries is freaking insane. It's hypocrisy at its greatest. So here we did. We poked the bear. We kept poking the bear. We kept telling the bear is Russia, Putin. We kept telling the bear, we're going to possibly, you can't keep Ukraine out of NATO. We're going to let possibly Ukraine join NATO. All right. They didn't say they wouldn't. They didn't say basically they didn't say they were absolutely going to do it, but they kept implying that Ukraine could join NATO. Then we start sending them high-tech weapons. All right. Again, think about the equivalency to this if Russians did the same thing on the Canadian-Mexico border. So hypocrisy is a big issue that our corporate media and our governments have in a major way. And as I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, where are the peacemakers? Where are they? Tulsi Gabbard points out here clearly this war and suffering could have been easily avoided if the Biden admin NATO had simply acknowledged, and she's right, if they only acknowledge Russia's legitimate security concerns regarding Ukraine becoming a member of NATO, which would have meant that U.S. NATO forces right on Russia's border. And she's right. She's a soldier, folks. Again, whether you agree with her politics or not, I think she got this one right. We're total hypocrites, not you and me, and not, but our government, total fucking hypocrites, all right? And we wouldn't tolerate it on our borders. We didn't tolerate it when the Russians did it with Cuba, and they are 90 miles away, not even right on our border. Imagine, again, if the Russians did this on the Cuban or the Canadian border, all right? So we could have avoided this. United States, we could have been peacemakers over there. We should have held out the olive leaf to Russia and say, listen, we get it. We wouldn't want your missiles on our border any more than you do, all right? So let's solve this. Let's solve this and not fuck up poor Ukraine, all right? And that's exactly what they did, all right, by dragging Ukraine into this. All right, I'm getting a little bit passionate here. And again, what is the issue here that we have? We have an administration and a corporate media that has lied to us over and over and over. And not only do they lie, they're major freaking hypocrites. Well, no wonder I got it wrong yesterday, but I'm following this pretty closely. Let's take a look at the picture here live. I don't see any tanks rolling in. It's going to be a very tenuous evening for people in Ukraine for sure. Someone very close to me has their parents out there, so we're following this as well. They're in Kharkiv, and I'm sure they're pretty much locked down. I don't think there's any phone calls into the country right now, but again, looks like things are somewhat normal. It's around 9 p.m. there. But if there was going to be a roll in the tanks, I don't suspect we're going to see that until the morning. If the reality is Russia is going in to change the regime and change everything, then we should see some action again before sunrise this morning. It'll take some time for tanks to get across the border, but there's a total lack of news of any more fighting going on right now. I haven't seen it on any of the stations. I haven't seen it live. I haven't seen, you see my cursor, I haven't seen any bombs going off like we would have seen in Iraq right now. But again, could change tomorrow. And yeah, I admit I was wrong. I just didn't expect him to have the balls as big as he did, and I did not believe our media and our government. And can you blame me? Well, I think a lot of you don't either, and this is a big shame, and this is a big problem, all right? But hopefully we will change this in the future. All right, I'm going to get to what I do best rather than predicting wars. But I do know my region over there, and I know the politics, and what I said is pretty much true. Wow, it blew my mind as well. All right. Best deals out there are still gold bars at spot plus 73 or less is what we got them for sale here at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. Remember, you have to come to my store. We are a brick and mortar only. We're in South Florida, so if you don't live in my area, find yourself a good local coin store. Keep that money in your neighborhood. Online, I don't know what the online guys are, but we do beat APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion in our prices. We're a small competitive business, and we can do that. I can get, I'm competitive, and I don't mind making a little bit less if the money stays here in town rather than getting shipped out of the state like it would if you bought from JM, SD, or APMEX Bullion. And as I said, I'm competitive. Find yourself a good local dealer. He should be the same. Best deal after gold bars is really going to be probably like... I've got some kangaroos in stock right now for a good deal. I think those are spot plus 80. I better not say anything, but still I got a better price on them than APMEX, JM, and SD. And then the same thing with gold maple leafs. I got a better price than them as well. And if you're going into your local dealer, try to stick with the lower premium stuff. Same thing with silver right now. Silver is 1 ounce, 10 ounce, and 100 ounce bars are the best deal. Currently, 10s and 100s are spot plus $3 or less, depending on the quantity that you're buying them in. I still have good availability, and as I said, my prices are better than APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion. If you can, find yourself a good local dealer to do the same. Well, I think that's really about it. I am tied to the, not the television, but I am tied to this screen a little bit. No, not the big ball screen, I'm sorry. I am tied to the spot screen. I'm kind of tied to the screen. I'm curious as you. Are we going to see a bunch of explosions here go off like we did in Iraq? Or was Putin telling the truth about this being a, wartime too? You can't blame leaders for not saying what they're going to do. Who would announce their invasion, number one? So anyone that says Putin's a liar, think about this. Nobody smart would announce an invasion. And in fact, you would do quite the opposite. I'm sure we have as well. Let's see what happens here. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzmar, and as I always say, think for yourself, question authority. And this is probably a really good topic that I just talked about that kind of this particular quotation covers very well. Think for yourself and question authority. You may not always be right, but at least you're questioning authority, and thinking for yourself. And that's something that I can be accused of doing, and I'm not always right, but I'm always willing to learn. Hey, folks, you have a nice day, and man, feel for the people in Ukraine, man. Like I said, a loved one of mine has parents over there, and it's really got to be frightening. It's just awful. And as I've been saying over and over, even if I got this invasion thing wrong, is where the F are the peacemakers out there? And why would the United States egg this on? Why didn't we go in there and just say, hey, Russia, we get it. You don't want weapons on your border. Why would we just insist on giving Ukraine their border country more weapons? Why would we throw fire? Why would we throw gasoline on that flame? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Not whether we were right or wrong in this, but where were the peacemakers, and why were we throwing gas on this fire? All right, that's it. I'm going to let this one go at that. Thanks for watching. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. Give me a call anytime at 954-493-8811 if you live in South Florida. Happy to help you out with your purchases and give you a good deal. And I'm going to call it quits. And man, we're busy as hell here in the store too. It's just been like nonstop people buying metals. So let me go, and I'll let you go as well. And hey, thanks for watching. And that's it. Bye now.